Down to my last words. It's really unfortunate that I have to make this video. See, I am a victim of covert harassment and electronic harassment and gang stalking. I'm what's called a targeted individual.
On November 20th, 2014, 31-year-old Myron May walks into Strozier Library on the campus of Florida State University and opens fire. 3 people are injured. May tries to leave campus, and a shootout with police in front of the library ends violently. The medical examiner confirming May was shot 24 times by police. What causes a seemingly well-liked guy to plan a mass murder? Is it mental illness, or as many suggests, being a victim of gang stalking?
The goal of gang stalking is literally to drive a targeted individual crazy.
If you search gang stalking on the internet, you can find thousands of people all over the world describing similar circumstances. Those who feel they are victims of gang stalking truly believe people are out to get them.
They employ isolation tactics. They basically try to convince your family, your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers that they should be keeping an eye on you.
In a 2-hour video diary that May released before the shooting, he explains how and when he started to believe he was a targeted individual.
A constant bout of noise that is never ending is designed to keep the targeted individual on edge.
In September of 2014, while May was living in Las Cruces, New Mexico, he filed a police report. In the incident report, May told police that someone put a camera in his apartment and that he was hearing voices coming through the walls. May began to believe family and friends were in on the conspiracy to make him crazy.
I am totally not crazy. I'm completely sane, but they've employed these tactics against me as well to try to make me appear to be a crazy person. As sick as this may sound, I've even had stalkers follow me into church while I was in Las Cruces and in Houston. I've had stalkers follow me into church to harass me.
May had worked as a prosecutor in Las Cruces just weeks before the shooting. In his last words, May speaks of his paranoia and coins himself as a targeted individual who's been a victim of stalking and harassment. He talked about a trip to Houston where he said cars would drive by and honk their horns every 10 minutes to keep him on the edge and agitated.
Tyrone Dew, an advocate and victim of gang stalking, says it's hard to prove that gang stalking is not just in your mind.
It's virtually impossible to be able to tell that someone is being attacked because we cannot see these weapons that are being used against you. We can only see the direct effects, and these effects, really seem like symptoms.
And what unfolded that Thursday morning in November is testimony of just how bad those suffering from mental illness can get. Through the entire process, Myron May believed he was being stalked.
There has been a shooting in the library. Stay where you are.
Father, forgive me for what I'm about to do. Forgive me for all of my sins, past sins, present sins, any future sins. I'm sorry that my faith was so weak. Amen. And that is the end of my personal story.
A small group of activists is speaking out in support of FSU shooter Myron May.
Their message is so controversial and the issue so sensitive, they were warned to stay off the Florida State campus. WCTV's Eden Schultz joins us with that story. Eden?
Well, friends and family say Myron May was having serious mental problems when he opened fire at FSU's Strozier Library last November. This group says he turned violent because he was what they call a targeted individual being tortured by the government.
Tyrone Dew was stationed outside the FAMU Commons Thursday handing out pamphlets. He says Myron May was targeted by what he calls a government no-touch torture program.
I do not condone the violence. However, I do understand the young man's frustration.
Dew claims he was targeted too. That's why he and a handful of supporters were raising awareness at FAMU.
These weapons are able to simulate hearing a voice in your head and changing your emotions by stimulating the cochlear in your inner ear by using something called micro-frequency waves. It's for the mass control of citizens.
Tyrone says it's not mental illness, though he admits he was once in a mental institution. He wanted to demonstrate at Strozier Library, but FSU police denied his request, citing safety concerns and warning he could be arrested if he shows up. Students were mixed about whether the protest should have been allowed.
To me, it wouldn't be the right thing to do to have a protest, but at the same time, you can't really change what people think.
There's no harm in letting those people express what they believe.
The fact that they're supporting this guy who tried to commit such a heinous crime on our community is absolutely ridiculous.
That group of activists also say Aaron Alexis, the Washington Naval Yard shooter, was a targeted individual by the Department of Defense. Reporting live in studio, Eden Schultz,
Or gang stalking, and you'll see the videos and postings and articles and stuff like that